What's going on, everybody? Well, the waiting is over. Here it is, the conclusion, the part 2 of this epic podcast with Mickie Foster and Maddie Kent. And just as a heads up, I know that the tap is lighthearted and goofy majority of the time, but in this instance, we get a little deep. Mickie definitely goes into her past and a lot of trauma that she's experienced. I'm just hoping this is a learning experience for everybody who listens, a little more heartfelt. It's still lighthearted at times, but definitely brace yourselves for some serious conversation. So I hope you guys enjoy this part 2. Nudity and adult language I hear on that ad. It's so bad. Mick the Dick is a wild animal, I'll tell you that much. All right. Steve Wilkos, did he hold on a second. Did he like put hands on you? Like what happened?
No. Well,
this was meant to be like right here for both of you guys, but drinks that
Wow. What a bad host you
it
are.
was not him. It was his bodyguard, one of the new guys. And he
Was he cute?
He was so hot. Oh my God, he was like
Steve?
No, the bodyguard that was
I bet.
stopping the fights.
Oh.
You're like,
Stop
no.
it.
He was a muscle, like a Jean-Claude Van Damme
Ooh.
with glasses. Oh man, he was hot. I was like,
You're
I was
like,
can
oh,
we
hold
go-
me back.
Can I go to the club with you guys?
Yeah.
But Steve came to the green room, and he was like, Mickie, he's like, I'm sorry to have to do this to you, but you have to go and talk to the police. And I'm like, what?
What?
I was like, what do you mean I have to go talk to the police? And he's like, we're gonna do everything that we can that you don't go to jail. And I'm like, what in the hell are you talking about?
Whoa.
I was like, he's like, well, you signed a waiver not to fight and everything. He's like, and that whole thing of the knocking the wall over and I just looked at him and I was like, I'm gonna go to jail in Chicago.
Give me a kiss and I'll cooperate.
I was like, my mom is babysitting my 3-year-old so I could come on here. I was like, she told me not to come on here. I was like, I ain't scared of jail. I'm scared of my mama. Having to watch my kid longer to come on here to do this.
What about your mama made you so scared?
She had my kid. It wasn't even her.
Oh, just the circumstance.
Christian Barb had my kid so I could come on.
Oh, not Christian Barr.
Christian Barb had my kid so I could go on the
You're
Jerry
like-
Springer show.
All bad.
And his
All bad.
mom worked with her. It was all bad. It was all bad.
She did not give you her blessing, I assume,
No,
to go on
and-
to Jerry.
My dad was a little mad, and he was like, whatever. I was like, it's kind of like a vacation for me. I'm never gonna afford one on my own. Let's just
To go to
road trip
Chicago. Well,
I
what
would
those
take that
Chicago
any day.
What would the Chicago cops have to say?
They just asked me if I knew that they had robbed somebody and pistol whipped this little 15-year-old boy, and I was like, what? I was like, no,
Was that sincere? Like, did you not know?
I did not
Like,
know.
Okay,
Oh, so
That-
this
that's
wasn't really about you.
No,
They just
told
gotcha.
us that they were bringing us out and that our show was then. And then when they got us there, we were only supposed to be there for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up being there 10. So what they said was that they had to cancel that show, that they couldn't get us all there in time. So they were going to have to hold us over, and the next opening was going to be a week later. They told none of us that it was because they were wanted by the FBI.
They couldn't air that because they were wanted.
They didn't tell any of us, so all of
Well,
us
yeah,
got
they
stuck
can't.
there for a whole week. Unless we wanted to pay for our own plane tickets.
No.
Well, it
Oh,
was
of course.
1997.
So it's like they hold you
right?
hostage like that. Like you're not leaving until we allow you to leave.
Well, no, they said we could leave, but it would be on our dime.
Right.
I'm like, man, I gave all my extra money that I was going to go shopping on to the
These
homeless.
goddamn bums.
They got the little country girl. I'm like, what else am I going to do?
Did you like film another episode, or like what became of your experience there and like what they filmed?
No, we just did that one episode. I mean, that was
And
it.
just
And
hung
did
out.
it did it air live? Like what tipped off the FBI? What like is that episode
called
is
them.
what got them?
They called him and had him.
So these
waiting
dumbasses
there.
thought, oh, we're wanted by the. Did they know they're wanted by the FBI?
Yeah.
And then made the decision. We'll go on national TV.
they called them and told them. They were so shitty that they wanted the show, and they knew that it was going to be so high ratings that they hid them from the FBI until they had the show, and then after the show,
They're
turned
like, hey,
them
by the
over
way, we just found out
to
this.
the FBI. Yeah, so they were like, "Hey, we've got these people that you're looking for."
Wow.
On the
Right.
show.
In studio.
Yeah, they're like,
right here in this
they're like,
hotel
we can
room.
get them here if you let us tape the show. Then we'll give them to you after the show.
And so Smoke and company thought, oh, we'll just go on national TV. We'll be fine. The FBI won't be privy to this.
Well, in their minds, that's just.
Crack's a hell of a drug, I guess. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Like the supreme
And
confidence.
I don't know what was in their minds and what
Crack?
Probably not a whole
what my
lot.
rational thought
Crack, Maddie,
process
crack.
is that they probably thought that once they got to Chicago, they would just never get back on the plane and just run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were wanted back in Kansas.
Yeah.
So they weren't ever going to come back.
Oh my God.
So they
It's a hell of a
extradite
drug.
them back to Kansas on
Yes.
the plane.
Yes.
Well, guess what they do?
What do
Guess
they do?
What the good old FBI does?
What do they do?
No.
They put Smoke on the plane with his mama and sister.
I'm not gay no more.
And
With no extra
With-
agents.
no agents. They just
Uh-oh.
send him on the plane, and they have agents in Wichita waiting for him. So what happens? They get back to Wichita, and all the people come off the plane. Well, where is Grantez at? We don't see Grantez. Because his mama and his sister dressed him up in a dress and one of their wigs, because they wear wigs, and he walked right past the FBI. And they had a manhunt for him for 6 weeks before they finally caught him.
Wow.
They're that incompetent.
Wow.
Yeah.
How'd they catch him?
Well, because he just messed up and he didn't leave. He should have left the state.
Am I giving
He didn't even
crackheads too
leave.
much credit to be crafty
You're-
enough to like, I'm wanted by the FBI. I'm going to go
My-
on Jerry Springer first and then I'll run.
My thought process after seeing and personally knowing a few, when a crackhead doesn't want to be found, a crackhead won't be found.
How do they do that? Do they just like
They
scurry
can
into
disappear.
a tree? They dig a hole?
I mean, they'll live anywhere. I mean, and
Did, like,
but
why?
stupid crackheads will go live with friends.
But like, what? Why does a crackhead why does their resiliency immediately just turn up to 20? Like, I feel like you could put them on a desert island and they would survive somehow.
That's
Yeah.
the drug.
How does crack make you a survivor?
Crack is like super cocaine.
Yeah, I mean,
Because after the crack wears off, they're dead for a long time.
like they just
They
sleep.
need the crack to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when Kelly got addicted to it, she was a zombie unless she was on crack.
How
She
long?
was not the same person.
Could you, from what you've experienced, and like I've not dealt with that many crackheads or any crackheads whatsoever.
Yeah.
Is there? I mean, obviously there's withdrawals, but to recover from it, do you know what that process is like? Have you seen people go from straight up
It's-
crackhead to like, okay, I want to reclaim my humanity?
Most
It's
of them
rough.
go to,
Yeah.
they have to go through treatment, and they end up getting put on methadone,
Yeah, yeah.
and then they get tapered off of it.
It's not.
China.
No,
and then
no,
they
that
just
sounds
get
like
addicted
insanely-
to the methadone.
which is it's supposed to alleviate withdrawal
Methadone
symptoms.
is like a milder version.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to help you like wean yourself.
But like you're
off
supposed to
of
go
it.
lower to lower doses until it's sobriety straight
Yeah.
up.
Right.
So seeming since Kelly drove the car and they were the people that robbed and pistol whipped the kid, she got a year in prison. So she stayed a year in prison. She got out, and
How many years did Smoke get?
I think 5.
That's it?
Yeah.
For what were the charges?
Burglary and
Douchebaggery.
armed robbery.
Yeah.
Armed robbery.
Man, so like was
years
your
in
small
prison?
your small town was like wrought with crime or like what
Oh, South Wichita, man.
bad?
It's everywhere.
Gangs, drugs.
You know, you got your ghetto
Horses.
parts in every town.
Mhm.
But yeah, South Wichita. There's Plainview. Plainview in Wichita. It's
How did you avoid that temptation to like get into that? It seems like you're
Horses.
no offense, like you horses saved you? Because it seems like you're no stranger to violence.
Yep.
Possibly enjoyed it. A rush. There's drugs around you. Your friends are getting into it. Like, is it that simple of an answer? Like, horses
I didn't hang
kept
out
you.
with friends. I started hanging out with Chanel when I was 16.
Who's Chanel?
And, my friend I grew up with my whole life. She lived down the street from me. I hung out with her. She introduced me to the sperm donor. I was with him for 6 years. And after that,
And that was not a good relationship by any stretch of the
No.
imagination.
it put me in jail. It about ruined my life. And then after all that, I was like, I need to go back to horses.
You deviated from horses for a
Well,
minute.
I deviated from horses for a few years because of him, because he'd beat me so bad that made me feel like I just was nothing, that I almost felt, because I was a child, that I felt like I had to be nothing and be around him all the time to know what he was doing because of everything that he did to me.
It sounds similar. Like, that was your version of crack.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you wanted it. You know
Was he-
it's bad for you. But
I knew everything. I
Was he
wanted to leave him so
Was he
bad.
older than you?
Yes, I was 16 and he was 21.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
my mom and dad kept threatening to get him for statutory rape.
right.
Yeah.
And of course, I was like, I hate
Kit Kat.
you.
Maddie,
and
you're right.
da-da-da.
Kit Kat came out to see you.
loves me.
Wow. She's like, oh, you have.
I have super.
You have cats.
I'm the cat whisperer.
Does you have kitty
and the
kitty?
horse whisperer. See, she knows she's around
Wow,
good
she's coming to you
people.
too. Like, so Kit Kat never reveals herself. Never reveals her tininess.
She knows when she's around good people.
She is eternally a munchkin.
Hi, Sissy, little baby. Yeah.
She's so
Oh,
cute.
whoa.
a little baby.
You see how big her eyes are?
Oh,
Yeah. She's my little muse.
what a good girl.
Look at Sunny over there just
Sonny's
just
like,
stewing. Yeah, go back into the room, you little shit.
Oh, looky there.
She's letting you. Oh my! She doesn't come out for my niece and nephew, or my brother, or my
She
parents.
loves
She didn't come out for
me.
nobody. She's letting you just. She's like, this
Little
lady's a
Kit
fighter.
Kat.
This lady's been. I've seen you on Jerry Springer.
Kit Kat knows.
This
good
never
people.
happens. This literally
on,
never
Kit
happens.
Kat.
Never happens.
No,
People
we
with
friends.
animals like that,
We friends.
she'll be up in my lap by the end of the night.
Yeah, I'm
she
thinking
will.
so.
Oh
Look
my
at
God,
her.
love me,
She's
Come
playing
on, Kit
coy.
Kat.
She's playing coy.
That's my girl.
Ooh, yeah. Like, my niece wants to see her. She's 3 years old. This little shit never presents herself. Never ever.
She's like, oh.
Look at her go. Look at her go.
Maybe I'll come.
You might come
Come
back.
back later.
she'll be
She's
back.
like, you're trying too hard.
She'll
We
be back.
digress. Oh yeah, she's
My
like,
whole life.
you guys are pathetic. Oh my
Sorry.
God.
I get
we
excited
digress,
when
by cats.
Animals love me.
Animals.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like the horses put you on the straight and narrow. Was it
Horses
like
saved
there
my life.
You
Was
don't have
it-
a choice. If you don't have a choice when you're like, that's how I cleaned up my shit too.
were you going down a bad path, Maddie?
Yeah, dude.
Like in college? I mean, you're partying, but it just seemed like you always had like, how dare you? This is the tap. We don't. burp
Hopefully
here.
that didn't come up on the record.
Like,
Well, we can edit that out.
Edit that, please.
Matt, would you say like just the partying and like kind of drinking lifestyle of college?
Oh yeah, like my senior year and the year after, I was going through some shit,
It's hard to transition out
and
of.
I was drinking because that's the only way I could cope with things. And
It's a good coping mechanism. Well, I mean,
it
it's
is.
not,
It's
but
it's a fabulous coping mechanism. But then I was like, oh fuck, I have to like get up and work in the morning, and this lifestyle is not. I can't do this anymore.
what shifted you?
Horses.
Work or like. So would you guys both agree like the responsibility that horses require, the time, the attention, the love, the dedication? It's like I can't give this to drinking. I can't give this to drugs.
Yeah.
Is that something to it, or is there something more spiritual? You would say, if I may get all gay on you, because I'm gay for animals, for spiritual connections, for all this shit.
I just have always had a connection with horses.
Starting at 3.
Further in my life, I think I was made to ride then, but another story.
We're here for it.
But they were just a way to get out of my house because I didn't have a good house to live in. And so
How many siblings do you have? You said 15 boys, but was that an exaggeration?
those are my cousins. I just had one brother. He's passed away.
Oh, fuck.
So, and, but he was never good to me my whole life. So,
Well, the one who taught you how to fight?
yeah, that was about the only good thing that he ever gave me.
He was good for something.
And that was
then.
because his name was on the line.
Shit.
But, yeah, I mean, it was my getaway.
Yeah.
My mom had horses out in the backyard, and I would just stay out there until she came home from work.
Was it also like a passion? Say there was a good life at home. Would horses have had as much of an impact, or was it like surely an escape and then became a passion? It seems like you're all like the passion's there innately, but were the circumstances like made it that much more to you?
Well, my younger years, I always felt like horses saved me in a lot of circumstances from my brother because he sexually molested me when my parents weren't home. So if I stayed outside, he would leave me alone. If I was
How
working with the
old
horses,
were you when that happened?
he started doing it to me when I was 9 until I was 12.
And how old was he?
He was 2 years older than me.
Was he abused at all? Like, was there anything like that on him, or is he just fucked in the head?
No, he was just
Just a
he was
piece of
evil. There was something wrong with him his whole life.
Yeah.
I mean, he would get something, he would tear it apart, just tear it apart. He would steal things. I mean, my mom spent her whole life trying to save him. I was like, and she was overly Christian, I think, to save my brother.
Do you think
And-
like some people are just born like you were just straight evil and rotten and like
How my
hopefully-
brother didn't
Absolutely, some
end
people
up-
are.
Yeah.
how my brother wasn't a serial killer, I don't know.
When did he pass away?
5 years ago, he was 45. And
I mean, there's plenty of things he could have done other than that. There were like,
but he spent his whole life making people try to hate me because he felt guilty for what he did. I was like, he never apologized to me. He never said, I'm sorry, I was a kid, I was hormonal, I didn't
Right.
know what to do with anything. I'm giggling about it because it's just like there
have
are
to
so many other
through
ways he could have handled it, and
Yeah.
I could
Right.
have forgave him. But instead, he hated me.
right.
And I'm like, I hate you.
Right.
You shouldn't hate me. You should be begging me for forgiveness.
Right.
But he spent his whole life trying to make people hate me to
To make him feel
make
better.
me
Normal-
uncredible.
Normalize what
Is that
he went
the right
through.
word? Incredible? Uncredible?
Yeah.
What's the word that I'm thinking of?
I think uncredible. Incredible.
To take away your credibility.
Take
what
away
you're
my
saying.
credibility, yes.
Incredible.
I'm sure there's a word for it, but
Yeah,
we'll,
I'm-
we'll work over it.
Yeah, I'm
We'll
Pretty
jump-
sure.
we'll jump
As
this
a
hurdle.
UC
Okay.
Davis graduate, I'm going to say
Yeah.
incredible is the word.
Yeah.
Because
I don't-
incredible
yeah.
is a totally different
Yeah,
thing.
he's not singing your praises. He's trying to tear you down.
Yeah, my whole life. And, I was accepted to go to college when I was 16, straight A's.
Where are you trying to go? You had straight A. Sorry.
My whole life, straight A's.
You're whooping ass, but you pulled out straight A's.
My whole life.
You can't be smart and
I had
like
one
beating
B.
people up.
I had
Yeah,
one
yes,
B.
You can.
What class was that?
What was it? U.S. history.
Oh, fuck
What
you.
you communist?
U.S.
And
history is a boring class.
U.S. history in the 9th grade.
That's a boring ass class. It deserves
And
a B.
You guys are un-American. No, I won't.
I
won't
learned
accept
how to jip.
it. Jip.
Do you know what jip means? Skip class,
Not
jip.
yet.
We called
Oh.
it jip back in the day.
You going jip?
We're going to jip class today.
I was a good child. I did not jip.
No. Did you guys have senior skip day?
There was, and I didn't skip. You know why? Because I
my
was
gosh.
You're a
the
square.
finest of kiss asses. Whatever.
Were
On
you
my
the
Letterman's,
only,
I
were you the
have.
only kid in class?
I got
like
a W for a
fucking
4.0.
loser.
I don't care.
Gay.
Maybe.
I literally had Allen County Community College. They went to bat for me and went and talked to my principal and was begging him to give me a grant to get my GED at 16 so I could start college because I was going to become a veterinarian.
Oh,
That was my goal.
Yeah.
And he said no. that the only way he gives grants for GEDs is if the girl is pregnant.
Why that
they're like, why?
crazy
Why
fucking
are you-
stipulation?
They're like, why are you not? She's having problems with people. Why are you not?
Right. Why
Because my
would you
mom's
not,
going to
like,
bat
give
for
her
me.
this?
These people are eyeballing me, and they're like, okay, you know, we'll
And they're-
bring her. We'll bring her. We'll bring her.
They're aware of the circumstances and things you've gone through and just how difficult it's been.
Yeah.
up until
Instead,
this
he
point.
left me in that situation until I got jumped, and all these girls end up going to the hospital, and his name's on the line, and he still wouldn't give me the
Oh, he
grant to
resented you
get.
for it. Well, I thought you transferred to a different school.
I did, and they gave me my grant to get my GED, and then I went to Allen County Community College.
Ah,
And then I didn't stay because I was too young, and I shouldn't. I was too young. That we'll just go ahead and say
you're
that.
too young.
And then I came home, and I went back to working horses, and then I met the sperm donor
At the party.
at the party
In
the field.
in the field.
If
Doing
your
the-
children are
doing-
going to parties in fields, go get them.
Was it?
We see our parties were in. There was this golf course not too far away from our high school, and it had this like bowl in the middle. So we had
That's pretty sweet.
parties in the
In
bowl.
the fairway?
It must have been. I don't remember
Out
exactly.
in the open?
But we called them juicers
Juice? Why juicers?
because we had juice.
Jungle juice?
Yeah.
Of course. Responsible.
And so it was in this bowl, so we could all be there and if the cops could see.
Mm.
So that's why you had juicers in the bowl.
Juicers.
At
in
the,
the
I don't
bowl.
even remember the name of the golf
Well,
course. now.
around here, there's orchard parties. I never went to any.
You never went to any.
I didn't know about them. My parents went to them and stuff like that. I was like too scared to bend the rules and do naughty things. I was like, oh, I'm going to get kicked off the sports team. Bad things happening. Oh, no. I was a big, fat pussy. What can I say?
You never ran from the cops?
No. No. I weren't no snitch. I'll tell you that much. What can I say? On the gram. Mickey, may I?
China.
That guy. I don't do it. I don't have my. Whoa, that was close.
Careful
As you
now.
can see, I spilled wine there the other day.
I was gonna ask
Yeah,
about that.
I wiped at it. I sprayed some
it's
things on
there
it
for life now, I guess.
to no avail.
Danny asked me at 7:21, want me to feed the horses? I'm responsible. I went to go on a
did
it.
podcast without
But
feeding the
that's nice
horses.
of
I
That's
got the
nice of
trial and
him to
error
ask.
I know.
podcast.
I was like,
You've
God,
had
I didn't answer him for an hour. I hope you didn't refeed them.
Well,
That'll be okay.
so Mickey, if you don't mind me asking, the sperm donor, horrible relationship. There was a spark of like kindness or him assuming the role of human being, but obviously he's a fucking monster and a piece of shit.
He did
From
not
what you-
become a monster until after I started dating him. He was cool. I mean, I only saw him at parties to begin with.
Yeah.
And he always came up to me and, he was, horses are a cool topic to people.
Absolutely.
Especially when they don't know about
Yeah.
horses. So, or they just see him on the side of the road. They're like, oh my God, you get to deal with him every day.
Yeah.
So he would always be like, hey, the horse girl. And he would come up and
Horse
he would,
girl.
and he would get into deep conversations with me. So I've only had one boyfriend and it was traumatic. I only went out on one date with a boy.
Yeah, and that we'll see how that
And it
ended.
ended badly.
And then I move and I go to college and I last there for 3 months and I'm like, I can't do this. It was too much for me.
Yeah.
So I come home and then I go with her and I go out to these parties and by the third party, which were every weekend because there's nothing to do in Kansas,
You got Boone Farm.
he's like, hey, why don't you come over? We're going to go. You know what? He never took me out on a date. I didn't think nothing of it because I was 16 and I didn't
Red flag
know.
number one.
And we all just hung out.
Thank you.
He's like, hey, everybody's coming over to my house, which was at his parents'. He was 21 at his parents'. So I was like, okay, it was not too far from my parents, so I just drove over there.
What were you
And-
driving at the time?
Chevy S10. Red.
Of course.
You have a nickname for her?
No.
Oh.
I had a white 1974 Plymouth Valari
Okay.
that my mom and dad gave me. That was a hand-me-down from my brother, which was my first car. They called it the Spermmobile.
Oh no.
And I was like, I don't want to know why.
That's hot. Was it sticky inside there?
Well, it was my brother, so probably so.
Gross.
He started dating Monica when they were 16, and they were together till the day he died. So, but
well,
yeah.
Good for him.
Uh,
He's consistent.
yeah, but I'm sure there is a reason why it was called the Spermmobile. I didn't have it long, but I worked, so
Spermmobile.
I got a Chevy S10, and then I traded it in for a
Spermicide.
Chevy. Hold on.
A Chevy Hold On?
My brain. I'm old now, so
I do have water here.
it's a
Have you guys heard of that?
K5 Chevy Blazer.
Okay.
Wee.
So, and it was convertible top. It had 36-inch tires under. It was mudder.
I assume everybody in Wichita drives a truck.
A lot. But not the sperm donor.
No.
His was touching the ground.
Why?
Bad.
And then
Bad.
and then he talked me into buying him a Mazda B2000, and I was like, "Oh, he wants a truck." I was like, "Okay, I'll buy you a truck." He dropped it to the ground. You couldn't even push a cigarette package on the side.
Wow.
Suicided the doors. Cut.
No.
No.
Is your brother the most redneck turd conceivable?
I'm like,
Suicide doors on
on a truck?
yeah, they all did it back then.
No.
Yeah, you just hit a little button and they'd pop open. And then
gosh.
he welded down the middle of the tailgate a lightning bolt. So each side of the tailgate pulled open, and they put subwoofers in it. And the first time I had sex with him, he got me pregnant. So the first time I ever had sex
Fertile.
in my life,
Fertile
I got
myrtle.
pregnant.
That's a
And that's when the abuse started.
Was he abused at all? Like what?
His
what you got
dad
that?
looked like Hitler, act like Hitler, and he was horrible to his mother.
Is he
So
part of the
it
Klan
was
or something?
all. Well, no, he's a little mustache. I don't think it probably grew because he wasn't a man. He was.
Was he like racist?
he was a
It just
drunk.
horrible.
He worked all day, and then he came home and he drank a 24 pack of beer every night,
Why
and then
not
he would go
just,
pass out.
Why not just be a man and drink like bottles of liquor? Why fuck around with beer?
Well,
Pussy.
it was 35 years ago.
But still,
I don't
it's just
know.
one
I'm
just,
sure he
drink a
probably
bottle
did
of
hit the
whiskey,
juice.
done
Handle
with
the
it.
carbs.
But his mom, he started hitting me, and he would choke me out, and she was just like, leave. she wouldn't do nothing. I was like, you know what? If my son ever did that, I'd beat the living dog shit out of him.
He was doing this
Yeah.
to you while you were pregnant.
Yeah, he kicked me in my belly. I went into premature labor when I was 4 months pregnant with my daughter.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I was in and out of the hospital the whole time I was pregnant with her. I had her a month early.
And the police are called. Like you mentioned earlier, like when
He
we're all
went
at
to
the
jail
bar,
for
like,
that. He went to jail for that.
and they're assuming, oh, this little bit of jail
went-
time is gonna
He
totally.
went to jail 9 times. And 2 times he hurt me and my daughter after she was born. Well, he grabbed me because I was trying to leave, and he said I wasn't leaving, and he chucked me, and I had her in my arms, and I hit the wall, and her head hit the door, and he gave her a concussion. She was 1, I believe.
That concussion at 1 year old.
Yeah, and he always told me I was fat, and I was 98 pounds. I only gained 22 pounds while I was pregnant with her because he cheated on me, and he was like, I cheated on you because you're getting fat.
And he would tell you this.
Yeah. And he would choke me out, and then he would wake me up. And then if at first it was just playing, he would hit me, and he would make it as a joke, and I'd hit him back, and then he'd hit me a little harder, and I'd hit him back. And then at some point he'd get offended because I hit hard, and then he'd start beating the shit
He'd
out of me.
realize,
yeah.
oh,
And then when he would get drunk, if I didn't do something, I mean, I see it now that I'm older, and I'm like, oh my God, I was an idiot. I'm like, he built up. I was like,
you were 17. You were 17, right?
I just turned, I was 16.
So it's like,
And
Yeah.
there's that
He was
cycle,
21.
the cycle of abuse. If if you don't mind me asking, what, like, he would hurt you, he'd go to jail, you'd have time away. Like, what kept you going back? What was it, like a compulsion? Like, what was going through your mind?
He would always say that I was ugly and I was fat and that nobody wanted me, and
You believed him?
nobody ever did ask me out except for that one guy. But you know what? Nobody ever asked
Your
me out
past work
because
against you.
I was always working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I just, now I think about it now, I'm like, I was busy.
Like, part of you
Yeah.
believed him, though.
I'm like,
like,
them
I was
horses
just-
kept me busy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I like them more than I like boys. And then once I like boys, they knocked me up. So
No horse ever knocked you up.
they so yeah, but
would he ever, like, apologize? Is that what drew you back? Like, hey, I'm sorry,
no,
this won't
he
happen
never
again.
apologized ever. He never said sorry.
Why'd you
So
go,
I think
why'd
that's
you go
what
back
kept
to
me
him?
beat down. Well, at one point, my parents kicked me out, so I was living with him. They were like, you can't live here because they couldn't deal with what he was doing to me.
Why
and
didn't
I
your
wouldn't
dad
listen
why
to
didn't your
him.
dad fuck him
My
up?
dad did fuck him up when I was in labor with Taylor, my daughter.
Right.
We were in the hospital, and my dad put him through the wall.
What is it with your family and going through walls?
Yeah, my dad, you know what? Oh, Claude, that old belly,
Claude.
that belly is big. But it's amazing how it goes all up into his
Yeah,
chest and his arms,
swing
and he
it
swells
real
up.
good.
Oh
It's
my
turned to
God, it's a
Hulk.
big man.
So he fucked up this guy.
Yeah, he beat him up while I was
And he
in
didn't-
labor.
he
And then
didn't
Kelby, to make me suffer, wouldn't go in because I ended up having a cesarean with Taylor because she was breech. And he wouldn't go into the delivery room with me because my dad beat him up. That's how I paid for it. My dad saying, if you ever hurt my granddaughter, he's like, I'll kill you. And my dad never did. And now one time he choked me, and then he woke me up, he choked me and till I passed out. And the third time he said he was going to kill me, I remember he's like, this time you're going to die, bitch.
Why the
And-
threats? Like, what were you doing anything to
Because
provoke
he
this?
was
Like,
a pussy bitch.
is he insane? Like,
He
where did this
only
rage come from?
could beat up women. He could never beat up men.
Right.
Anytime
Yeah.
a guy was pissed off at him, he would run.
Right.
So he beat me up because I was little. He mentally beat me down,
Right.
and then he physically beat me because he was not a man. There was no form of man about him. He didn't have a job.
Just
He
living
lived off of
parents?
his parents, yeah, and they supported him. And he did nothing. He was worth nothing. He had nothing unless it was given to him.
Right.
And he couldn't even beat up a man. He had nothing, so he couldn't stand up to a man.
Did he help support,
No.
like, in any way? Your daughter's born.
No.
The abuse just continues, and it's up to you to work to
Yes.
provide.
My
like-
mom helped, his mom helped, and I worked. He never bought.
Why nobody said, "Hey, get a job now"?
Oh,
Even
yeah.
with the daughter, he did not like. I need to get a
Yes.
job and provide. He didn't do shit.
Yes, they all said it. They all said, get a job. His dad was an asshole to him. His dad was an asshole to me. He was like, he's like, leave my son. They all told me to leave him.
Oh.
Right.
But little did they realize that he had beat me so much that I'm like, well, I can't go home because my parents kicked me out because of him.
Right.
I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
have anything.
So where do you go?
You're the rock and hard place.
And then when I
Kinda
did try to
insane.
leave, he'd rip everything out of my car so I couldn't leave because he was the only person that could fix it. So he would like rip my rotor cap and all my spark
Right.
plugs out.
That's psychotic.
Yeah, the last time he did that, I ran with Taylor to the next door neighbors and I pounded on the door and I was screaming, crying.
Yeah.
And that's the time that he gave her the concussion. And they called the police and put me in the house and called my dad. And my dad showed up and Claude had the belly. It was not a belly, it was in his chest. And he was
Like,
like,
"Rah,
that's
rah."
it. He's like, you're fucking coming home. He's like, my granddaughter's coming home. And if you ever go back to that son of a bitch, he's like, I'm
He's
taking your
fucking
kid.
dead.
Right.
And that's what it took for me to leave him. Was that.
Your dad. I can't empathize or pretend to know what you went through, or
They were
what
helpless
kind of
against
parent
me.
he was. But like, I guess
don't
what
listen
he
to
what he
people when
did
you're
and what
the
he
other-
said
like,
there, it seems objectively like the right thing. Like, I'm looking out after my granddaughter. I'm
Yep.
looking out for you. Like, I don't give a like. Fuck this guy. Like, we're making a change right here, right now. It's like that seems like the right thing to say and do. And I'm
They
not
were
trying to be
right.
out of step with what
Nope.
I'm saying.
They were right in
Yeah.
everything that they did, and it was the one thing that made me switch around.
You okay?
It went down the wrong
Come
hole.
on.
Calf it out.
It took them stepping up and saying they were going to take Taylor from me because I love Taylor. I've loved Taylor more than
Yeah.
myself, but I didn't.
How did
I
how
could
did
never
she
see it.
How did she change you? Like, did she help you through this struggle with this piece of shit?
Well, I never. It's really hard because I had such a hard life. So I didn't ever feel like my parents loved me because my brother was abusing me. And I didn't tell them because he beat me all the time and he told me he would murder me. And I believed him.
Yeah.
I mean, he would pour bleach in my mouth and I would have blisters. And they
And
had
your
us
mom,
they
like-
had us sleeping in the same bedroom and he would like put the pillow over my face. I mean, if you go and even to play around and think, oh, I'm gonna put something over, I will literally
Yeah,
freak out.
freak
on you.
out.
Yeah,
Fuck.
you don't even know.
So he would put it like he would
yeah,
push
and
it
then
to the
he's-
extreme so
no,
you would believe
just
him.
So I went from my brother doing that
Right.
to, and my parents, you know, I would call my mom and I was like, will you please come home? But I wouldn't tell her why, but I would beg my mom, and she worked at the hospital, and she's like, you're just gonna have to get over it. I never told her. I don't blame my mother. I don't blame my father because I didn't tell him.
Right.
I was scared. I got
This guy
older.
might
I
actually
didn't tell
kill
him
me.
because I was like, you know what? They're not gonna believe me because they
Yeah.
spent their whole life trying to save my brother. So at this point, I'm like, if I tried to tell them, they're not gonna believe me. So what happened was my brother died, and I still didn't tell him. I was gonna take it to my grave. I'm just like, you know,
So for
I just held
their
it.
peace of mind, I guess.
no, just
Fuck it.
I just don't want to deal with it.
What
History,
good would
yeah.
it do?
What good is it gonna do for me to
Yeah.
try?
What's it
and
gonna change?
They're not gonna believe me. So why am I gonna make myself?
Right.
Why?
It
Yeah.
seems like they found out eventually.
But Mickey went home from California.
Mickey.
Oh dear.
Not last year, year before, I think it was, for New Year's. And the people at the bar that I used to own, they were like, oh, we miss you, we love you. So they were all giving me so much alcohol that I got so drunk.
It's not gonna drink itself.
And my best friend, that's been my best friend forever, she kind of did me wrong. Another story. I'm not going to go off on it. But I got so drunk that I ended up telling my mom what my brother did. And she didn't believe me. She called me a liar. And I was like, of course you're going to say that. That's why I never said it to you.
Right.
There's a benefit of the doubt being as drunk though, but it's like, how suspect would that be if you've never mentioned anything like that in the past?
Yeah.
No hints at it, no nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
This seems
Yeah,
out of the
why-
bloofer, and
why would
Mickey's
you make
drunk.
that up now?
You never know, but
Well, when he died, and everybody was all, oh, Claude was the greatest person because my brother's name was Claude and my cousin's name was Claudie. So we had Claude,
Oh
Claude,
my
and Claudie.
God.
Oh
he's
God,
dirt
that's
Claude.
a lot of Claudes.
That's a lot of Claude.
A lot of Claude.
Too many Claudes, maybe.
And when he died, and everybody was drunk, and I got drunk, and I was there, I was drunk, and I was like, I'm glad the motherfucker's dead. I'm like,
Fuck.
I was like,
Yeah.
he drove the bus to hell, and I'm happy for it. I was like, if y'all ever want to get picked up, I'm like, oh, Claude, he'll come pick you up. He'll drive you
get
right
ya.
on down.
Fuck.
He's
Did
driving
they-
the bus.
Did they question it? Like, do they still not believe that this happened?
They believe me now.
What
But it
changed?
took my mom calling other people and asking them. And my friends were like, yeah.
They knew?
Well, yeah, I told my friends. I was like, why would I ever tell them?
Yeah. At the
Yeah.
time, and you were 9?
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
8, 9, 10, 11,
So
12.
that's
Yeah,
like,
5 years.
you're not...
He quit because I started my period and he could get me pregnant. And that's when he started beating me up. So I already went through abuse with my brother. So for Kelby to start it,
It was just
You were
picking
just
up
like,
right where you
oh,
left
this
off.
it
is
was
how
there
it
was really
is.
no in between 12 to 16. But then
Yeah.
the person that I relied on with the horses, she was a coke and a drug addict. You
Right,
know,
so that's
drug
not-
addict and a drunk
that's not
who
helpful
was
either.
verbally abusing me and putting me in the wrong situation. So my whole childhood life was
just
screwed
That,
up.
Like, did you
Screwed
ever
up.
consider giving in? Like, let me just do this. It's like you've all. It just seems
Oh, I tried
you-
all the drugs when I was 21, 22-ish.
but like it's your moral compass never swayed. It's like, yeah, you'd fuck people up, whatever. But I feel like your moral compass has always been towards true north. Never, I want to do crack. I'm going to abuse other people.
Yeah.
How?
When I
was
got
it
drunk, I did.
What's that?
When I got drunk, I wanted
To
to hurt
do those
people.
things.
Not drugs. I never really,
Well,
I
like
never
rev-
really liked them. I tried them. People would give them to me. I was like, yeah, I'll try them. And I'm like, yeah, that's.
Anything ever like really tempt you? Like crack around there. It seems like crack was very famous around there.
I do not have an addictive personality, except for this vape, this strawberry banana vape.
It's delicious.
It's
Give
delicious,
it here,
and they're-
Maddie. You want some?
and
No, I'm
they're
good.
horrible
I'm
for ever
good.
making them because I quit smoking cigarettes when my daughter got cancer, and I hadn't smoked a cigarette for 20 years. And then I got drunk, and somebody handed me one of those things, and it tasted like pixie sticks, and I
You're
haven't
like,
put it down. I'm like, that's my bad part.
When did your You say you have a bad heart? You kidding me?
Yep.
You seem like
Well, I
a
have blood
vigilante
pressure.
in this world. Like darkness can help black out that darkness or whatever. Like you're.
Yeah.
It seems like you fight. Like you have that rage, but you channel it towards evil. You channel it towards this
I'm-
bullshit.
I literally, there is nothing that I don't feel like I can do. I can do anything.
You can.
I'm
You
like,
summon the
if
cats. These cats don't say hi to anybody, but they come up and love you.
If
The Kit Kat.
if somebody has something
Maddie.
bad, I'm like, I just walk right on in, and I'm like, how do we handle it? You know, let me take it for you.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm like, you're not gonna go through it alone. I'm like, let me be your backbone because I'll survive it. You might not.
You'll dance with chaos.
Yeah,
have
I
danced with chaos.
absolutely give it to me.
What keeps your cool? Like, have you always been keeping it cool? It seems like your experiences have also helped shaped you, but it seems as if you've always had that innate calm in the storm.
On the outside. The inside, my head is like, oh, I put every single scenario in my head and which one's going to play out and which you can ask my daughter. She got in trouble all the time at school because I would steal her paper and I would write down my bills and I would write down what money I make every day because I owned a bar and I'd make different money every day.
What was
you
your
never
bar
knew.
called?
Yeah.
Corduroys.
Corduroys?
What's
Yeah.
the name?
All right, like the bear,
No, like the pants.
like the pants.
Because everybody,
corduroy.
yeah. I mean,
You
I kind of
know.
get, just the way you are, I kind of get that you would think
I'm a
that.
man child, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. I think, like, when you walk, you know how the corduroys goes.
Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Like in Seinfeld.
Oh, I got these fat thighs. I got these fat thighs.
I've
You
always
got the
been
whoosh
blessed
and
with the
whoosh and
booty.
thighs.
So,
Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
and I'm like, oh my God, wouldn't that be great? I was like, because everybody's going to be like, why in the world would you name a bar corduroys? And I'll
No,
be
that's
like,
a great name.
I'm gonna be like, when they walk in the door, they'll be like, and then when
got
they leave,
corduroys.
you ask them, you be like, now what do you think? They're like, oh my God, it's just great in here. It's a great time. It's great
Yeah.
atmosphere. It feels good.
You have a pool
and
table?
that paid my rent.
Hey, people love
Yeah,
pool.
good pool table.
I
People
had-
love pool.
I was the biggest shit talker. I didn't even have bouncers. I had a big, huge redwood
just
stick.
you.
And I went to the sex store and I bought 2 fluorescent pink strap-on dildos.
Yeah.
go.
And I just put one on each end. So when,
You're like,
when them guys start
fuck
acting
with
up,
me now.
because the girls don't act up, it's always the men.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they start acting up, I just tap that thing on there and I'm
You're
like,
like-
which end do you want put in your butthole? I'm like, it will make every man pucker up and stop what they are
Hi,
doing.
Pucker. I'm not trying to tell you.
Yes,
How big
ma'am.
were those dildos? We're talking 10 inches plus?
Probably 6. You don't need very big. They were fluorescent pink dildos on the end of a big cherry when somebody says they're
Cherry
gonna fuck
wood
you
and-
with
You're like,
them,
tap tap, sir.
I just tap it on the end bar. I was like, which end do you want in there? I was
And
like, I'm not
they're
spitting
like-
on it or nothing.
No, they're going.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even
Going in
move it.
raw.
They would all, and then I would always have a flip flop in my back pocket.
Flip flop. Oh, you
they're
toss
good.
it at people's
You're
face.
good for slapping
then-
people with.
Yep.
Very Hispanic of you.
And I made sure at first I didn't know, so I would try and slap him. I would try and throw it at him, and I couldn't get very far because I didn't have counterweight on that sucker. So I went and got me one
Yeah.
that had bling on it.
Oh.
Counterweight, wham, all the way. I
Get
could
one.
hit-
You
I
should have
could hit
gotten one
any of
with the
them.
heel. Then you could really chuck them at people.
Them men. I was just like, that's it, and they'd all just duck their heads and
Because
they're
you like smack them. Bah.
I'd smack any man.
What's your range?
Well, my building was 2,400 square feet. I could probably hit him
10 feet. 10 feet away.
farther than that. I could hit him all the way on the other side.
No way.
Yeah.
practice.
Well, I used to
practice.
play tournament softball.
No, Oh, would you underhand it?
No.
Oh, just dagger.
Whoosh-ah.
Well, and I could stand anywhere in the bar and I could throw a bottle cap into a trash can.
So
I can't do
If
it
you
anymore,
You're pretty good at,
though.
like you're
You
good at
practice
drinking
something
games.
long
I
enough, you're
opened
gonna
and
get
closed the
good at
bar,
it.
and it was a truck stop bar, so
Oh my!
they all talked dirty to me, and they try to get me to
Like horny
blush.
fat guys, right?
All kinds.
So what? How'd they not woo you with their charm and trucker ways?
With their horny fatness.
Their
Because
horny
I
fat-
watched-
your horny fatness.
That's how I quit fighting people.
How so?
My friend's mom owned that bar, and
I thought you owned it.
I did. I bought it later.
Oh, okay.
Her daughter and I used to go in there, and she's like, Mickie, you can't come in here no more. And I was like, you can't. This is the neighborhood bar. You can't, Mom. You're my mom.
Mom, yeah.
big man.
You call her mom?
Yeah, and
Big
she lived with me years later. I mean, she's like my mom.
Yeah.
So, I was like, you can't bar me. And she's like, I can. She's like, because you won't learn. She's like, you're going to end up killing somebody. She's like, your anger is
You'd always be
overtaking you.
getting in a fight.
She's like, I don't know. She's like, you need to come and work here. And I was like, work here? And she's like, yeah. She's like, you need to see how people change when they drink. She's like, because I can't figure you out. She's like, I don't know where we lose Mickie and your demon comes in.
So, because you'd be drinking, you wouldn't see.
When I got too drunk, that's when I wanted to fight.
And what was that?
Because I was just holding all my anger from all my trauma inside me. And when I get too drunk, it just takes somebody whispering something wrong at me. And I'd be like, I wouldn't even say nothing to you. I'll just walk up and punch you in your mouth.
Really?
Because whatever.
Would you ever mistake somebody, like wrongfully like attack anybody?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Oh my God.
I can't say. You could look at me wrong, and I wouldn't even say nothing to you. I just walk up to you and try and knock your teeth out.
And you never know who else in life might be going through that and have that same reaction, that same anger and fury.
And it was all trauma based.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how to let it go.
You did the best you could.
And, it took a lot of counseling and, trying to kill somebody.
When did you, where did, like, as every story goes, it's like there's, like, the darkest place that the protagonist goes to, but, like, what changed things? What really started to turn things around for your life? Because, like, to where you're at
When my
now,
daughter got cancer and they said she wasn't going to make it.
and she got it at age 3?
4.
4.
Yep.
Jesus.
Up until then,
like
I
the
was-
abuse, like life, like
I was away from him, and then I tried to kill him, and
share as much or as little. Like you're not obligated to share.
he
anything,
abused
like-
me so much, and
Yeah.
then I finally got away from him because my dad was like, I'm going to take Taylor away from you if you don't get away from him. So I left him, and then I went back to working with horses, and he started sexually molesting her, and he beat her with a belt. They did not tell me because
They
I was
knew what you
gone,
do.
and they were building a case against him to put him in prison, and they knew that I would ruin it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them for that.
I was gonna ask, like,
They were
from
smart
from
for
their
doing
point
that.
of view, like you can
Yeah.
understand why they made that
Absolutely.
decision.
I 100% believe everything that they did was in Taylor's best interest, and why they didn't tell me was in mine.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Because I'm glad that he did not die, because I would not have Taylor, and I would not know my grandchild now. You know, life could be very different for me. But if it would have happened, I would have been in prison, and I would have
For
been
life, you think?
absolutely
For murder, for first-degree murder.
because it was premeditated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, what parent wouldn't want to exact revenge? Cain Velasquez, the MMA fighter, is in jail now because he went after a guy who molested his son.
yeah.
Shot at him. Unfortunately, didn't hit him. But it's like, should there be, from what you went through and like the court and everything?
Well, there
Like-
was justice for me way back then. But
Yeah.
the justice isn't going to be great for him because we have social media.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's everybody's going to be on his side because I've seen it and I've said, let him go. You're lucky that man's not dead. If he just shot at him, oh well. He shouldn't go to jail for that.
Just wait till he gets his hands on him. A bullet
You
would be
should have
too
done
easy.
your job and put that motherfucker in jail.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what you should have done.
Yeah.
There's
that's on them.
instances of like, yes, there's wrongful accusation. Like there could be horrible circumstances, but how often is that? Like, how do you even get associated in an accusation of
Yeah.
underage, like molestation and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and there's like repeat offenses, or like there's so many stories, and it seems like the signs were there, the red flags were raised, but we chose not to see them, and now we have this.
Right.
And there's a mother who is going to rectify the situation.
Yeah.
So it's from that whole process. How difficult was that? Like, how did stress was crippling? I mean,
Oh, when they told
what'd
me,
you go through?
when they told me, pure anger, because I finally got away from him, and I finally was rebuilding my life, and
Yeah.
then to get me, he took it out on my daughter, and was doing god awful things to her. I'm not going to discuss it
No,
because it triggers me, and I just don't want to relive it.
no.
Yeah.
You're trying to get through.
Even 20 years later, 25 years later, it's still very traumatizing. But
Yeah.
I told them they shouldn't have told me.
Yeah.
I punched holes in the walls. I kicked the couch. I told them I was going to go kill him. And they said that they would take my daughter. And I said, well, at least somebody stood up for her.
Yeah.
I was like, 9 times he went to jail. I was like, he almost murdered me. I was like, he would literally choke me out, wake me up, choke me out, wake me up. I was like, the only way I'm not dead right now is because our friend Tucker put a shotgun to his head. That's the last thing I remembered. I remember him saying, he's like, this time you're going to die, bitch. And I heard, ch-ch, you better fucking let her go.
Tucker saved your life.
Tucker saved my life. And
Is this a friend from a long time? You guys go back to like childhood, or just
since I was 16, he was his best friend.
Oh.
I take.
And
How did he
quit
stay
being
friends?
his-
I take it they
he-
weren't friends after that.
He quit being his best friend
Yeah.
because he became Taylor's godfather, and that became more important to him.
Yeah.
And they're still a part of her life.
That's good.
Really.
Yes.
That's incredible.
That's
So,
great.
I
What made
mean,
this such a good person? Like Tucker, like, did he go through any hard times, or he's just a good person in
he
your
told
life?
me, he's like, if you don't freaking leave, Mickie, he's like, it's your fault. He's like, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah.
He moved out of our house. He's like, I'm done.
Oh.
He's like, I saved your life. He's like, I can't go through this.
It seems so similar to like
I'm
someone
like,
who's
oh my
had
God,
an intervention.
Mickie, so many people were begging
Were
you.
like-
The police were begging
Multiple
me
people.
to leave him. He had me so brainwashed
Yeah.
and that I was nothing without him. I'm like, oh my God. So I was like, thank you for making me so strong, because you made me so weak that,
Yeah.
and everybody else up to that point had made me weak.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why I love horses so much, because they were my rescue. They were
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
sanctuary away from all these horrible things in my life. So I really pay attention to every movement, everything they do, and I love them.
No matter how
You
many
know.
times they bust your bones out of your body,
Don't
shatter your
care.
feet.
I've been kicked in my face, broken jaw, in a coma, and I still love them. It's my fault when it was my fault. Every real cow person, when they get something, any horse person,
Oh yeah.
when you get hurt too bad, it's
That-
your fault.
Yeah.
It's your fault.
Oh my god.
But
So
Taylor getting cancer saved my life,
and she beat it.
and she beat it.
Yeah.
How old
They
is she?
said
How old is she today?
She was 4 years old. She had 4th stage B-cell lymphoma. They said that it was too far gone, and that the only thing they had was an experimental chemo at St. Jude that they had tried on 8 people and nobody survived it.
Right.
But that they could try it on her, but everything
would
it was
just
going to be
nuke her.
horrible. Everything was going to shut down, and she
Yeah.
was going to die. And it was right before Christmas when it happened.
Jesus Christ.
So I was mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I was so angry, and because everything that we got through,
Right.
and that happened, and
Then
Like,
this.
And now this.
yeah, so
What treatment did she go through, or what transpired?
well, they started. I can't remember the whole thing. There's a paper in the medical journal on her
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
all
I'm
these
sure.
years ago because she's the first survivor of it, and now they use it on thousands,
Everybody.
That's
hundreds of thousands
incredible.
of people.
Yeah.
It's called methotrexate.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
She's the first
her what was
survivor of it.
her demeanor through it? Was she like strong? Was she scared? Like
She didn't know what was happening. We just kept telling her she's really sick and she had a cold. And I didn't tell her that she was going to die because why would you?
No,
You know?
no.
Yeah. She's so young. Yeah.
And so they started giving it to her. I mean, and all of these churches came and was praying for her. And I wouldn't
That
close my
response,
eyes.
yeah.
I was not praying. I'm like, why would God do this? After
Yeah.
all that we went through, why would God give her cancer? And we grew up going to church next door to my mom and dad's house. They still there. It's church still there. And he came in and he pulled me into the room next door and he's like, Mickie, he's like, everybody in Wichita's praying for this little 4-year-old girl that has cancer. He's like, and all it's doing is getting worse and worse and worse. And I just looked at him. I was like, yeah, I was like, a lot of good that praying's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just waiting for one person to pray. He's like, and you ain't doing it.
Right.
He's like, I know you're stubborn. He's like, I grew up with you. He's like, but I also know that you have the biggest heart. He's like, every Sunday you had that horse tacked up so them kids could come out and have lead line rides after church. He's like, he's like, but I know you're stubborn. He's like, so I'm just going to say this one thing. I'm going to leave you. He's like, here's the key to the church. He's like, you don't need to have people in it to go talk. He's like, you don't need to go to church to talk to God. He's like, I'm just giving it to you in case you ever want it. He's like, leave it like you found it. He's like, lock it up. He's like, if you don't want to use it, don't use it. He's like, your parents, I gave them one too. He's like, I'm going to say this, I'm going to leave you. And he's like, God doesn't make cancer, but by God, the only person that can do it, the only person that can heal it right now is him. He's like, everybody's praying for that kid, and he's just waiting for one person. He just turned around, left me in that room by myself.
What'd that one person do?
I was still mad, so I just was like, whatever. And it snowed, and my best friend, it was ice storm, and my best friend brought her horse that my daughter loved. She trailered him up in an ice storm right before Christmas Eve and had him out in the,
You're fine.
had him out in the parking lot so she could see
Oh,
him.
that's cool. That's
Oh.
sweet.
What was his name?
That was Hawk.
Oh, it's
good
badass.
name.
Let's go, Hawk.
That was her Christmas present.
Oh.
Was Hawk, and the most craziest horse
Of
ever.
course.
What, like
Yeah.
just wild bucking? Like what's
well, no,
his deal?
Shannon had him since she was young, but he was so hard to ride. I mean, he was crazy.
Yeah.
And Taylor just loved him. She loved giving him Jolly Ranchers.
Mm-hmm.
So Shannon drove him up in an ice storm, and I was like, oh my God, please don't die.
Like was he bucking around or
No,
like
no, it was just driving a horse trailer on ice is
that's
scary.
a little scary.
Yeah.
It was bad, like a blizzard.
Yeah, like 2 inches of ice.
That's horrifying.
So she drove. It took her like 2.5 hours to get 10 miles.
Yeah.
So
But
she
did
just
it.
creeped. Yeah.
She
it was
tell you she's gonna do it?
Yeah, and I was like, don't do it. Just wait. You know, she's like, Mickie, we don't know if Taylor's going to live. She's like, she's going to have Hawk for Christmas. So she did. She made it, and it's snowing, and it's dark outside. So it's black icing in Kansas. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
And she's like, bring her to the window, and because they'd started this
Wow.
chemo, and it was just, she couldn't talk. She had blisters down her throat. And I was like, Taylor, I was like, you want to see your Christmas present? She's like, yeah. And so I picked her up, and I took her to the window, and I was like, what? I was like, can you see that down there? And she's like, is that Hawk?
She knew his hog. Oh,
Yeah,
my
and
God.
I was like,
Mickie,
Aunt
God
Shannon. I was like, Aunt Shannon gave you Hawk for Christmas. I was like, Hawk is yours now. And she's like, that's mine. And my friend Miranda, who I went on Jerry Springer show, she had came up and she knew that Shannon was given. So she found a horse that looked like Hawk, a stuffed animal.
Oh, wow.
So she gave her the stuffed animal, and we named him Hawk.
Yeah.
So
She still have him?
she still has him.
Oh, that's.
And
Do you think, was that a turning point in all of it?
well, she got real bad after that, and
Yeah.
I just knew she was getting ready to die. So I just looked at my mom, and I was like, can I borrow your car? And my mom, she just kind of looked at me because I hadn't left her side. And she's like, be careful. It's icy outside.
Yeah.
I drove to church, and I just hit my knees. And I was like, I want to be selfish, and I want to keep her. And I want to do all the things with her. I was like, but if she's got to go, I was like, there's nowhere I want her to go but with you. I was like, so I'm giving her to you. And I was like, but I ask you that if you leave her with me, that I'll raise her knowing that you've saved her life and to be a good person. I was like, I'm not going to promise you a bunch of stuff. I was like, because I don't believe in it. I never asked God to win a horse show. I never asked God to hit a home run. I never asked God for anything that I can do myself, and He knows it. I was like, but I'm asking you, if you save her life, I was like, I'm not going to promise you things I can't give you. I'm like, but I will promise you that I'll raise her knowing that you gave her a second chance at life. I was like, but if you can't do it, I know it's a big feat. I was like, just please take her fast and don't make her suffer anymore.
Yeah.
I was like,
You kept your word.
and I kept my word. And next thing I know, 2 days later, there was this white stuff coming out in catheter. And I was like, I don't know what this is. And she was complaining. And I was like, I'll pick her up and carry her to the bathroom. You're taking that catheter out. And we started gathering it. And it was the tumor. It exploded. We gathered 6 pounds of tumor.
Holy shit.
What?
peed
Where
it
was
out.
this?
It was so big. She looked, that's why I kept telling him. I was like, something's wrong. She looks like an Ethiopian. You know how they're so,
Yeah. Like
they're
bloated.
extended
It was in her
stomach.
stomach?
But skinny
it
or
was,
bloated?
It was, the tumor was so big, just a little piece attached to her bowel, but it busted open when they went
Holy
into,
shit.
and it had compressed her, heart, and it had filled her lungs, and she was bad. Her
A
whole
surgery ruptured this?
body. No, it ruptured, but the surgery, air touching cancer is horrible. So,
It enhances it, or?
yeah, she didn't. When she came out of surgery, she was dripping sweat. You could just smell it. It was.
Bad.
I can tell you right now, I can smell it on people when they have cancer.
Really?
Yeah. And you can't get rid of it. You can wash and wash and wash, and it secretes out of your body. I knew when
There's
she
a
had
certain-
it.
Cancer has a smell?
Yep. And I knew
They have
it.
cancer smelling dogs now. Even.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
I
Yeah,
knew it
they've,
when
like,
she had
trained them
cancer
to-
again when she was 14. I could smell
It
it in
came
her.
back?
Yeah, I could smell it in her hair,
Oh, that's wild.
and she had cancer again.
And-
But she survived it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's going strong. How long has she been good from
Well,
it?
she was 4, and she'll be 32 this year.
What was it like getting the news that you're on the recovery after all that you've been through? Like, personally, it seems like her
Well, we
struggle
went
kind of
from
mirrored-
death. They said that she wouldn't survive the first round of chemo, and she was literally on schedule to what they said she was going to die. So we were 3 days out of her organs giving up
Right.
by what everybody else had died from.
Yeah.
So that tumor blew up and started coming out, and Dr. Rosen, who's the oncologist, heads up I
Yep,
thank
shout
God
out.
for him all the time. Shout out. He was like, I'm going to take her off of that chemo and I'm going to put her back on the regular lymphoma chemo. He's like, and that's what saved her.
Really?
Because the other chemo, they were keeping them on it too long, and it was shutting down all their organs. So
Yeah.
what happens is you put it on, and it blasts it.
Yeah.
So it's
Everything
called
gets
blast.
Yeah.
And they were leaving them on it, and it was killing them. So what happens is you just put it in there, you blast it, and then you take it out, and then you put them back on the regular chemo, and they survive it.
What did the blast cause the tumor to explode?
It just, I don't know exactly what it was.
Do they know? The
I-
doctors?
They did a whole paper on it. I mean, they use it on thousands of people now. I can't tell you the gist of it all. I never even read the paper.
Do you
I was
think-
just
do you
I was
thi-
just grateful that it
Yeah.
worked.
Well,
Because
do you think
I
is it
literally
that-
had to record what they said because they would say it and I couldn't remember what they would say 2 hours later because I was so traumatized from it because I was literally watching my baby die.
Right.
So I would record it and then listen back. And
That's
my
smart.
parents drove me crazy
Mm.
because I could tell them 5 million times and they still ask me the same questions over and over again.
But do you think about that night? Like when you went and prayed,
Oh, yeah. It was
someone
big.
was listening.
And then when
someone
I
did
was
something
driving
about it.
home, I don't know if you guys have ever heard there's holes in the floor of heaven.
Mm-mm.
Have you ever heard that
I
song?
don't know that.
Okay, well, listen to it sometime. I was driving home and they released it, and I was driving home, and I was bawling so bad I had to pull over on the side of the highway,
Aw.
driving back to the hospital from the
Yeah.
church, and a police officer pulled over, and I'm bawling, and they're like, "What?" And I told him I was like, "My kid's dying from cancer." I was like, "I just went to church to pray to God," and I was like, "I'm driving home, and this song comes on."
Fucking song comes on.
And I was like, I'm crying so bad I can't see the road. And I was just like, and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm going to give you a police escort to the hospital."
Oh, that's
So
nice of
he
them.
police escorted me, which was only, 5 or 6 miles. Everything's 20 minutes in
If you
Wichita.
only knew
Yeah.
the rascal rapscallion that you grew up to be.
Yeah. He actually came up and he prayed for my daughter, and he came up several times and he brought his family and brought her gifts. And
Who is this guy?
That's very sweet.
I can't remember. There were so many people that came up and prayed for my daughter.
What was that support like?
It was, well, you know what? It was
prayers, like-
overwhelming.
Yeah.
yeah.
And a lot of it I can't tell you many of them because I was so mad at the time.
Yeah.
But I remember him. I remember the situation, but I can't remember his name. But, I
remember
can't
the
remember
love.
anybody's name.
You remember the love?
Absolutely. It was a big thing in my life. So I remember the important things.
And now she's 32.
yeah.
And she has a beautiful baby girl,
Yeah.
What's her name? If you don't mind me-
Zephyr.
Zephyr. Hey, that's dope.
Yeah.
She's
That's dope.
almost a year now, yeah?
She'll be a year in July.
Okay.
I guess, all right. You know what? You have made me feel better about a couple of things that have pissed me off over the years,
Yeah.
i.e. the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl.
Hey, go Chiefs!
So, all right.
Mickey
I got to piddle real
was
quick,
the
but
first one that called me
when they won.
when they won.
yeah.
Look, I got to...
And I was like, fuck yeah, girl.
I'm going to use the restroom, but I want to drop you with a question that will give me time to piddle so I can return. Your experiences winning the Super Bowl, given everything you went through, I mean, how much of a morale booster is that? Because goddamn, that's incredible to be a part of the winning team.
Oh, the Super Bowl?
Be a fan.
Hell
yeah, the Super Bowl.
Because
yeah.
my whole life growing up, they were losers.
I mean, when the Seahawks,
And I was still a fan. I had to be a fan. My
when
dad
the
was a fan.
Seahawks won the Super Bowl, that's probably the happiest day of my life.
Yeah. It's like Seahawks won a couple of times, didn't they?
No, that's the only one.
That's
we've
the only
ever
one?
won. We went.
It was big, though.
We went in what, like 2008 or something, and the Steelers kicked our ass. So we were like good for a little bit, and then they kicked our ass in the Super Bowl, and then we sucked again for a while, and then we got Russell Wilson. and we had that Super Bowl, and nobody believed in us,
Yeah.
and we kicked the Broncos' ass, and that's probably the best day of my life.
Oh yeah. That was
And
before
then the
Elway
next year-
retired, right? You beat Elway.
No, that was
No,
Pey-
Elway
that
already-
was Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning, yeah.
He beat Peyton Manning, and then he won the next year, and then he retired.
Yeah, Peyton Manning. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry, Peyton Manning.
I know. What you mean.
Excuse me. Hey.
So the lady that I trained horses for in Kansas, she had a Colorado ranch, and her ranch was 4 houses down from John Elway's ranch,
No way.
and it was cool.
Oh, I bet.
I gotta go
That'd be-
inside
That'd be
it.
so cool.
He's very nice.
Yeah.
He's very nice.
So
His
I grew
his
up
ex-wife-
loving the Broncos.
Yeah.
Because my dad's partner would always throw a big Super Bowl party. And, I was a kid, so it was the late 90s. So I would have been like 6, 7, 8, when they were winning. And they had these big Super Bowl parties, and they had these cool dogs, and they had all this good food, and they had all these cool toys, and I was like, this is awesome, and the horse team is winning. I love this.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what this is about, but I'm all about this. Because the horse team is winning, and I'm having a great time with all these dogs and food and toys, and so I have a soft spot for the Broncos, but I also have a soft spot for the Chiefs because of
Insufferable.
my friend from high school, a pre-Pat Mahomes era. I'm not a bandwagon fan.
You've
That's
suffered
right.
a little. You've suffered a little bit.
Well, I've suffered a lot,
Oh no.
but I was a Chiefs fan before Pat Mahomes got there.
That's right. All you suckers that jumped on the bandwagon.
Get off of it.
It
You
was
ain't
not
really
long-
fans.
No,
not long before
not at
I
all.
don't count none of them as
Gotta be there.
I started watching the Chiefs because of Kenny Acker.
Kenny.
Kenny. That's my boy.
Is your daughter a Chiefs fan as well?
She does not like sports at all.
What?
Oh my gosh.
You have failed as a parent.
You
It's
know
hard to
what?
look at you, Mickey.
She was wearing those tight jeans that go down to the bottom, all the way down the bottom. What are those called?
Skinny
Jeans.
Skinny.
Before skinny jeans were cool. I was like,
Ooh.
she wanted to wear them, and they had to be vibrant colors, and I spent a lot of money on those suckers. And I was like, Taylor, why are you looking like that? I'm like, you look weird. And she's like, I'd rather them look at the clothes than look at because she had a limp because she lost her whole hip to cancer.
Right.
And she's like, I'd rather them look at that than my limp. And I was just like,
Okay,
I was
fair.
like, Taylor, I was like, you were skinny jeans before skinny jeans were cool.
Yeah. What did she say? Does she own it or what?
Yeah,
She's a
she's like,
Do you think
trendsetter.
she'll listen to this?
she's like, she might. I'll tell her.
Yeah.
talk
Give her a
to her.
shout out. Say something to Taylor. You're a badass. Let's go.
She'll be like, why are you calling me Taylor? She changed her name.
Oh, what's her name?
Rowan.
Rowan.
Row.
Row.
Okay.
Row your boat.
Not bad.
Yeah, whatever. I'm still
Hey.
a little salty about it, but whatever.
Hey, life is a trip.
She was supposed to be a boy,
Yeah.
and
If I
32 years ago, them new ultrasounds, they
They're
told me
not
she
so
was a
good.
boy.
yeah.
And I was like, they pulled her out, there were a little girl. I was like,
like,
you better put
"Whoopsies."
her back in until she grows some.
Yeah.
I'm like, because y'all
You're
lied.
like, it's too late
If
now.
I was born a girl, I would have been named Natalie.
Yeah,
But alas,
me?
I'm Aaron.
I would have been Sam.
Sam.
She was supposed to,
Sam.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
but Sam could go either way.
Right.
It could.
It was after
But-
the dog.
Papa.
Be named Mickie.
The dog.
The dog, Samantha.
That's an Indiana Jones reference. You were named after the dog.
Yeah, I know. I got that. So the dog was Samantha, and so I would have been Sam.
I just looked at my parents all the time when the "Oh Mickey, You're So Fine" song came out. I'm like,
Was
I
that
know.
the reason?
No,
way. No,
It
that
was-
came out
it
way
was
later.
out
I was
after-
born before it, but I looked at him and I'm
You're
like,
like,
I
"God
know
damn
you
it."
didn't know. I'm like,
But
but you
goddamn you.
suck
But I
because of
hate
this
ya.
song.
Mickie used to find.
Just
when I
call
owned the
me
bar-
dick.
When I owned the bar,
Oh.
people love singing that song to me.
Sure, I would have murdered them.
Is that like a
Like-
psychological torture for you? Just that song on repeat, always, over and over.
They
and
love
over?
singing at karaoke, or they're like, Mickey, oh, Mickey, you're so fine, you're so
like,
fine,
yeah.
you blow my mind. Hey, Mickey, hey, Mickey.
You ever see Wayne's World? They sing that in Wayne's World.
Do they?
A little.
I think
Him
I
and
think
Cassandra,
I might have
yeah.
seen it. I
The
didn't
last
watch
song
a
I
lot of
listened to in the
TV
morning. No?
until later in life. I didn't ever watch TV.
What did you do with your life?
I worked.
Some of us work for a living.
I
Aaron.
worked.
As a rich and prosperous person who looks down their nose at the
My
small
daughter?
people, it's hard for me to empathize.
I never even had a TV in my house. And then my daughter came along, and so I had a TV, and I had like 2 or 3 DVDs. But she could never watch them.
What'd you have?
Just like kids movies.
Just
for her.
movies.
Yeah.
Do you remember the movies?
Just, I had Arthur and the Invincibles. I would never let her watch
Strike
Barney. There was no Barney in my house.
No Barney. Really?
No.
Purple.
We did not watch Barney.
Yo, Barney.
either.
Oh, yo, I was marching to Barney. I was about Barney. That explains a lot.
Yeah. My
I'm
mom,
just
my
saying.
mom was not about Barney
I'm just
either.
saying, Barney ruined
I'm a
some
good
lives.
communist because of Barney.
Barney ruined some lives. I'm just saying. She would go next door and they would play Barney, but no Barney in my house.
No
we
Barn.
we went outside and we played.
Yes, as you should.
Would you like to know that I knew BTK, the serial killer,
Really?
personally?
How does that happen?
I lived in Park City, Kansas. That's where
And
my bar was
BTK,
at.
What does that stand for?
Bind, torture, and kill.
And what was this person's name?
Dennis Rader.
He came to your bar.
I saw him every day. He drove by my house. He stopped and talked to me all the time.
What would he say?
Was he cool?
I
was
had
he
the
weird?
best conversations with him. He was
What
very
the
intelligent.
fuck? Hold on. I'm
Very
having
intelligent.
a hard time believing this.
My mom told me that I could write a book. People would be very interested
What?
in my life.
You're not lying. You knew this serial killer.
Oh no, he had a crush on me. FBI came.
All right,
he
Mickie,
took a picture of
we
my
are-
daughter.
We are officially 2 hours and 30 minutes into this podcast, and now you're dropping this knowledge on us?
I got a lot of shit.
You knew this guy!
Yeah.
Give us a tease. I guess
Literally-
this is far from our last podcast, you guys. Let's just put this out here right now.
We can do this on another podcast. My
right.
mom
Give
told
us a
me
tease.
give us a
Give us a
taste.
tease, and we'll get to the off the cuff.
he came back and started writing letters to the public, and they started putting them on the news because he was leaving them at different sites.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if he decided that he was going to start killing again, that nobody thought about him.
Did you have any inkling in your conversations that this was a complete and utter psychopath?
Well, I knew that he was weird. I always told him he was weird, and he would go through.
How do you take it?
He's just like, I'm not weird, Mickey. He's like people just don't abide by the law, because he would go and he would take his measuring tape, and if it was more than 2 inches, he would write them tickets, and then he would take people's dogs and take them to the
He was an
pound.
officer?
He was
Forgive my ignorance. Like, was he a cop or something? Like, what do you mean? Measure people? Measure
he was oh my gosh, my brain.
a meter maid?
No, he was a compliance officer for the little town of Park City.
Oh, okay.
And he'd been there for years. I mean, and actually he had murdered somebody right down the road from my mom's house, and left her by the railroad tracks by my mom's house.
What was his MO? Like,
Bind, torture, kill.
like
He would find.
How would he lure
he would,
them in? I guess.
Well, he would stalk them. And then he would break into their homes. And when they came home, then he would bind them.
And yeah.
And he was actually the treasury at the church that my mom and dad got married at.
Of course.
How
And he was a Boy Scout leader
Of course.
because he knew how to tie all the knots.
Jesus, like Mickie.
I'm going to leave you. I'm going to leave you with that.
Yeah.
You go ahead and you look through BTK.
And we'll come back with more knowledge because I've heard the name, but I don't know that much
way,
about it.
that
but-
way you understand a little bit, and then I can
Yeah.
go into my personal things. Because he used to come into my bar. He would literally stop every day at my house. I lived in a little trailer house, and he would stop, and my dog would jump on his car, and he would be like, "Oh, Cheyenne," and
A nice guy.
I would
you'd
just be
say.
because I would sit in my chair and I would watch the children ride up and down the street on their bicycles, so they wouldn't get hit by cars because none of the other parents cared. None of them.
No little like turtles out there. Please drive slow. Kids at play.
Well, you know, they put some big old speed bumps in there, but
There you go.
Yeah,
But that was
only
it?
That only does so much.
so yeah, I knew him very. Matter of fact, I had the FBI coming into my bar and talking to me.
You are on the FBI's talking about you. I bet your name.
Well, no,
around the
they
water
came in and
cooler.
talked to me. They came and talked to several females that he talked to, and
How is it that a small town girl in Kansas has had multiple run-ins with the FBI and adjacent shenanigans?
yep.
How? What is
Well,
going on with you, Mickie?
It has nothing.
What's
has,
wrong with you?
It has nothing to do with me, but the bad people in Kansas.
Oh my
you know?
God.
If you're a bad
Don't go
person,
to Kansas ever.
don't go to
Lesson that
Kansas.
I have learned here tonight.
Allow me to get. I said it
I will
earlier.
never
They-
visit Kansas.
I'm-
No
There's
offense,
nothing to do
but
in
I will
Kansas. That's
never
why all the
visit
bad
Kansas.
people go there.
If I may get all spiritual and gay, I know I referenced that before, bringing it back around here to tie a knot on the episode. Weather affecting people. In the East Coast, it's super cold. People are a little more stoic, a little angry. Tornadoes be happening in the Midwest. Would you say life is something of a tornado? Does your life kind of reflect that wildness, that destruction, the chaos that is a tornado?
My mom said that I am a serial killer magnet because that's not the only serial killers that I know.
What?
The Carr brothers lived above me in this apartment I
Who are
lived
the Carr
in.
brothers?
No.
Wait, what?
Are you
Hold
shitting
on.
me?
Are they
Yeah.
like nationally? Forgive my ignorance.
Okay, they
Google-
went.
National?
Google it.
National?
Google it.
They went and they hijacked a person. They went to these people's houses. They robbed them. They made them go in their cars, and they went to ATMs and made them empty out their ATMs, and they brought them back to their houses, and they raped them. They made them rape each other. These were 5 people, and then they took them out into this field down by 230. Is it K96? K96 and Greenwich Road, which then, I don't know, 20 years ago, and they made them all get down on their knees, and they shot them all in the back of their head. Well, one girl, they shot her in the back of the head, but they didn't kill her, and she got up. She waited till they left, and she got up, and she ran down to this house, and she knocked on the door, and they got her, and she gave them their description. Well, they were in the apartment above me, and that's where they got him. They were at his girlfriend's
Were you
house. They
home
came
when
back.
this happened?
No, I was at the bar. But there was blood everywhere. They had so much blood on them from raping them and everything that they had to like strip the whole apartment because it went down into they had to like take the floors out because
These are
dripped down into the wood.
Brothers that did this?
Brothers.
Twins?
No, Reginald and Jared Carr, I believe.
And they just
Reginald
went on
and
this
Jared
killing
Carr.
spree. Like, was this an only instance or like?
I don't think that I think this was their only instance, but yeah. Google them too, yeah.
I'd
And
rather
my mom,
not, but
my
goddamn.
my mom just looked at me and she's like, Mickie, and I'm like, oh my God, they lived right above us.
Well, I mean, I know I'm not a serial killer, but chances are, Maddie, are you a serial killer?
You'll never know.
Take that as a yes.
It was funny because before I came over here, my boyfriend's like, you're going to a guy's house to do a podcast? He was going to come with me, and I was like, well, come with me. I'm
Heard he's
like,
a good guy.
yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, great
he
guy.
can have his own
Right.
podcast. He's
Well, we
awesome.
have this empty chair here. What's his name?
Right.
Danny.
Danny. This
And-
chick, Danny. I have another
We'll give-
microphone.
And he was like, you don't even know him.
But
and
Maddie's
I was
there.
like, and then I told him Maddie was here, and he's like, okay, well, I'm going to stay home and work on my car then.
Well, hopefully you can come home. Hopefully
I'm
he
like,
listens to this.
I'm like, literally, I know serial killers, and you're worried about me going over here. I'm
No,
I'm
I-
good.
Maddie will save
Look,
you.
If it was a fight to the death, I'm putting all my money on you. When
was
you
like,
kill
why are
me,
you
give it all to
worried?
my family. Like,
Why are you even worried, SA?
Right. Chill, man.
No, I'm joking.
My God.
I just
Serial killers we're talking about next time? Is that the cliffhanger we're leaving on right now? We're talking serial killers? And
yeah.
You know serial
Yeah.
killers. Maddie, did you know
And
she knows serial killers?
I did not know that.
And we can call my mama to verify it.
Get her on the phone.
Shit.
My mom will be like, "You are not
Get her
telling
on
people
the tag.
this."
Will she verify this?
Yeah, my mama. She told me because I locked my keys in my mobile home. It was freezing outside, and the police. I called him and I was like, "Can you kick this door in? Because I keep trying to kick it in. It won't kick. I gotta get in my house. I don't have a spare." And they're like, "Mickie," and I was like, "Just kick it in. I'll deadbolt it, you know."
Yeah.
And
I'll
so,
deal with it
and so
later.
the police officer kicked my door in, and my mom's like, "Mickie, you gotta fix your door. BTK's back." And I'm like, "This motherfucker's like 60. I wish a motherfucker would."
I wish a motherfucker would.
He's like 60. What's he gonna do?
Right. I ain't scared.
Little did I know that it was. I knew him.
That was your
And
guy.
then I got a boyfriend, and he moved in with me from Texas, and he got so mad he arrested my dog and put her in the kennel because my door was. Taylor went out and didn't deadbolt it.
Yeah.
She was supposed to go out the back door. She went out the front door because she's a kid. And so my dog got out, and instead of just putting her back in my house like he would have, he took her to doggy jail.
Aw.
So when I found him, I chewed his ass. I was like, "Dennis, how the hell? What the hell?"
What'd he say?
I'm like, "It cost me $100 to get her out of
Yeah,
doggy
no
jail."
And he
I
knew
was like,
he
"She
knows
was-"
this is your dog.
Yeah.
That shit ain't free.
Yeah, he pets her every day, and he's like, "Well, you should lock your door." And I was like, "Well, you know it's kicked in, and I kicked it in. It's broken. It doesn't even lock." I was like, "You could have just put her in there." Yeah, that's a whole nother story.
You could have whooped this serial killer's ass. I bet you could.
I
bet you
Like,
could.
try me.
you literally will die when I tell you other things that he would do.
Well, all right. Can we put a bookmark on this and get you scheduled next time? Like,
Yes.
Mickie, Maddie.
Yeah.
How did you
You
never
guys.
knew Maddie had such a weird
I've
friend,
got
right?
This is wild.
Only from Kansas. You guys want
Only
me?
from Kansas.
You guys have so many things to do in California. Murder's last on the list.
From Kansas with
Yeah,
love.
we got too much shit to
Mickie,
do.
thank
around
you so much.
here.
I appreciate your transparency and willingness to share
You're welcome.
so much of like what you've gone through and whatnot. Hopefully people can take something from this, learn from it, grow from it, and like thrive from it. Like take this energy, this strength that you have.
I hope so.
God damn.
I hope if women or if little girls hear
Right,
this,
don't take no shit.
Anybody.
that I mean, men get beat too.
Yeah.
Women are doing it to men nowadays too. So, you know, if you feel like you could get no better, that's when you should leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't hit rock bottom. Change your mind. Save your life.
Well, it's just
Was there a certain, like, before we like sign off here, was there a certain organization that helped you? Is there any like numbers or hotlines or like anything? I know it seems like out there.
I can't remember them off the
anything you
top
come
of
to
my.
mind?
I could.
Oh,
There's always
there-
resources
there's
out there.
lots of
Yeah.
There's always resources out
I
there.
mean, there's.
I mean,
there's
they were-
abuse hotlines.
I
and
did a-
suicide hotlines.
Absolutely.
I did
I couldn't tell
an
you their
abused
numbers.
woman's clinic in Wichita, and I did a lot of outreach stuff there. And some of it was court appointed, and then I kept going because it just made me stronger to be
Yeah.
able to tell people, and because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
And that, like that, it sucks, and I hate to have to concede that like what you've gone through is not so abnormal.
it's not.
And
It's
that is just
all day,
it
every day.
Sucks.
Yeah.
It's I see it so much on social media too.
Yeah.
People going through it, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, can you please have one of my ribs? Because a lot of people don't end up like me. I turned
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
into being very strong and courageous, but a lot of people don't end that way.
Hopefully this
It
can inspire.
drives them a different
like,
way. Yeah.
Like no matter how bad it is, like I mean that just seems like you're in such darkness, but to have that ability to turn it around the way you have and to
and it was really honestly all by luck.
It
was
you had nothing
really,
to do with
yeah.
it. It wasn't your fault.
Well,
that you
no,
got
I
out
mean,
of it.
it was luck that I got out of it. I mean, it it was luck because I kept going back and back and back. So it was people standing up to me. Is that I love something else more than myself is how I got out of it.
There you go.
Some people don't have that. So some
Yeah.
people just need to borrow a rib from somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you made it. I'm glad
Thank
you're
you.
here, be able to tell the story and to be with Maddie and to like you guys share the affinity for
It's
horses.
my girl.
Common denominator. Ride
Oh.
horses, save your life.
That's right.
There you go.
They did.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mickie.
Thank you.
Maddie, as always, you guys. Well, hopefully everybody enjoyed the conversation until the next time, and there is most definitely being a next time. Absolutely. All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
You lose! Good day, sir!